Welcome, everybody, to the Brandon and Ryan Hour. I'm Brandon,
And I'm Ryan.
and it's Monday, movie review day, Ryan.
That is correct, Brandon. It is movie review day. Today we are reviewing the 1981 masterpiece known as Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Masterpiece, huh?
Masterpiece.
You're just going right
Directed.
there with it?
Yep,
Masterpiece?
why not? So the director was Steven Spielberg, and the main actors were Harrison Ford and Karen Allen.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
I didn't realize that it was over 40 years old. I didn't think about it. It's not like I think about how old movies are, but it
Okay.
came out before we were born, so I guess that makes sense.
Yep, that is over 40 years ago. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it'd be 42, 41. What year is it?
It's 23.
42.
So, yeah, depending on what time in the year it was released, it would be
This
41 to
would be its
42.
42nd year.
Yep.
Well,
All
no,
right.
43rd. Anyway.
Anyway,
Yeah. So, yeah, directed by Steven Spielberg. Um,
but for those of you who have never watched the channel before, if you're new, we do have conversations like we've seen the movie and like you've seen the movie. So, obviously, this is a 40 plus year old movie. So, we're not even going to worry about
no
if you get upset about
spoilers
spoilers.
here. Oh. Yeah, unless you're under the age of, I don't know. Who hasn't? Everybody should
7.
have. Yeah. I mean, the movie's what? PG. So, if you're 10, you should see this movie. That's just all there is to
All right.
it. Oh man. Yeah, so the first in the I don't know what it's gonna be. What do you call a set of 5 movies? 3 is trilogy.
A
I don't know
set of
what
5
5 is.
movies. It's one of
But
5.
I guess. I don't know. There's gotta be a name for it, sure. Anyway. So yeah. So the 5th movie is coming out in June of this year. So figured we'd take a look back at the first one that started it all. And we might do the others, depending if we feel like it. Maybe the third one. Not the 2 or 4.
You don't like 2?
Okay, so in the original trilogy, what order do you rate them in?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. I think 2 may be the weakest one,
2 is definitely the weakest.
but I don't know between 1 and 3 which one I like more.
I like 3 more than I like 1. It's 3, 1, 2 for me. The Last
Okay, that's
Crusade.
a
I
fair
mean,
list.
you've um oh gosh, my mind just went blank. Um what's his name?
Harrison Ford,
No. His
Steven Spielberg.
I know we're talking about the first movie, but his dad in the third movie.
Oh, his dad.
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
It's got Sean Connery in it, so anyway, okay, first movie. We're talking about Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yep. So go ahead and give initial impressions and your score.
Pretty sure I just gave initial impressions.
I don't feel like you did.
Score. I mean, can you have an initial impression on a movie that you've seen dozens of times?
Yes, because you've never initially given your thoughts on it.
Okay.
And that's what I meant by initial impressions.
Oh, okay. It's got to be high 8s, maybe 8, 7. And I mean, it's an epic adventure movie. Yeah, I mean, that's what it is.
Okay, yeah, you are correct. It is an epic adventure movie. Um, I mean, I'd always enjoy it when I go back and watch it. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Hmm.
The some of the editing doesn't hold up, but it's great for its time. But yeah, I'd give it somewhere in the high eights. I was going to go 8.5. So yeah, 8.5 I think is a solid score for it.
Okay. Um, I don't think we need to rehash like a play-by-play of the movie, but um, I thought like as I was rewatching it, as kind of I don't know. I guess sometimes when you rewatch movies, you don't pay attention as much. You know, for the 15th time, you just put a movie on and while you're cleaning the house or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But this time I started to do that. I was like, I've seen this movie who knows how many times, so I just started to play it. And then like 5 minutes in, I was kind of half paying attention. I was like, what is going on? So I was like, well, okay, wait a minute. Let me start over and let me just focus on this and watch it. So that's what I did. And um, uh, so something I didn't notice before, but I noticed now is that um, I don't know. You always think, okay, Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's about finding the Ark of the Covenant,
Mm-hmm.
the Holy Grail. The third one is about finding the Holy Grail.
Right.
But it's really the movies actually aren't about that. That's a subplot,
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of the through line of the movie.
right? It's the main
It's
move.
the
The main
MacGuffin.
right. The main part of the movie is Indiana Jones.
Right.
So like he's got a unique entrance in the first movie. The first time you see him walking away from the camera
Mm-hmm.
and standing on the hill with his iconic outfit, right?
Right.
But this is the first time you've ever seen him. So it's kind of odd that all you're seeing is a silhouette from behind. And it's not until like 5 minutes into the movie that you actually see his face and he talks.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of interesting. And
Yeah. I completely forgot how this movie opened until I sat down and watched it again.
how'd you forget how it opened? Like that's the whole
Like I
running
just
from the ball thing is
yeah.
iconic.
Like I remember the running from the ball. I did not remember it was from this movie.
Oh,
Um.
okay. You thought it was from the second one?
Yeah. I guess so. But I completely forgot that he was already on an excavation or a mission, whatever you want to call it, at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah, he's already deep in the jungle somewhere
Yeah.
looking
Because
for
like when I think Raiders of the
golden
Lost
ring.
Ark, I'm thinking Indiana Jones tracking down the Ark of the Covenant. I don't think, oh yeah, Indiana Jones started out already doing what he's doing, if
Hmm.
that makes sense.
I can't remember the second one, but like just trying to trace back through, it kind of the same thing with the third movie. Like it opens on like a like an already in progress side quest.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this was, but it introduces a character that comes back up.
Yeah, and they set up a lot of his, I don't know,
Backstory.
his what what did
They
you
set
say?
a backstory.
Yeah. So they give you character on him. You know, within the first 10 minutes of the movie, he hates snakes.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So they do a good job of telling you who the character is without exposition dumping it.
Without, yeah, which is I don't know. I don't know if it's unique anymore. It's kind of hard to tell, but um, yeah. So throughout the whole movie, there's not as much dialogue as you think there is. I found that I was like, okay, they don't talk that much. They talk here, and then a whole bunch of stuff happens, and then they talk a little bit, and then a whole bunch of stuff happens. So
Yeah.
it's not that much exposition. Um, yeah, so you find out he hates snakes, which comes up in the other movies, and in halfway through this one,
Yeah.
which is nice. Um, and then they introduce oh gosh, I forget his name. His friend
Okay, which friend he has quite a few in the movie.
Brody.
Okay.
Brody, because I don't remember. I keep mentioning the other ones because it's kind of hard to talk about the first one without talking about the rest of them. But I know Brody's in the third one. I just can't remember if he's in the second one. He probably is.
I have no idea.
But they don't tell you anything about Brody much.
Yeah,
But
he just shows up in his classroom, and then when they go to talk to the CIA people, like you can tell they're friends, like they've been doing this for a while together.
right, and that without giving any backstory information about them, like they just know they just know each other so well.
Right.
And
It's
they
almost
don't
like,
have to talk about their history.
yeah, it's almost like Steven Spielberg understands you should show, not tell.
Yeah, and that's
I
what
mean,
this
that's
movie
what
does a
movies
lot
are.
of. Yeah,
Right.
this movie does a lot of showing and not telling. And the only, well, not the only time, but the main time that they tell anything in this movie is in the scene where he's talking to the government people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's done very interestingly and it's not dull. And like he literally stands up and draws on a chalkboard, which is everybody's favorite thing. But like you don't lose interest in it. You're like, okay, yeah, show us this chalkboard. I want to see.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I can't recall that ever happening in another movie where I'm like, what's going on the chalkboard? He's drawing he's drawing a diagram of a stick in the ground with a beam of light coming through it. This is great stuff.
Riveting television. Yeah.
This is literally what he did.
Yeah.
Like, okay. But yeah, you're just along for the ride. And you're like, okay, this makes total sense.
Yep. And it kicks off his whole Nazi fighting escapades. Yeah.
Yeah, because the movie's set in 1936. Yeah, I don't know. Nazis everywhere, run around Europe and Africa. Where did they go?
They were in Egypt, so yeah, Africa.
Okay. And then let's see.
But yeah, we find out that Hitler has people, Nazis, in Africa looking for the Ark of the Covenant because they think it'll make them invincible for some reason.
Yeah, running around the desert looking for any ancient artifacts. All
Right,
the
but
occult stuff.
Yeah. But the telegram that they intercepted specifically said they were after the Ark. Or did it say they were after the Ark or that they were in whatever city they made up?
They were in that city.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they pieced together that they were after the Ark.
Right. The history on the Ark, little spotty.
Yeah, a little spotty, but
yeah,
still enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah, so then he's like, all right, yeah, sure, sign me up. I'll go find the Ark. He didn't seem like it wasn't at all worried about the Nazis, or didn't even really seem to care. He was just like, I'm gonna go find the Ark.
Right.
I don't care. Nazis, I don't care about Nazis. Just gonna go. I like how they travel in this in Indiana Jones too.
What do you mean?
They don't show they show you a plane and a map.
All right, yeah.
And the line. And you're like, okay, we have gone across the world. I'd like that as opposed to like getting on a plane, getting off a plane. It's boring. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a geographer. I like maps, so seeing
Well,
a
that's
map
fascinating.
with a line going to across the ocean. It's kind of fun. But they do it several times, and they do it in all of the movies. But I don't know. I feel like it's better. It's more storytelling, right? Because you actually, okay. And they're always on like strange aircraft. Like he was on a seaplane.
Mm-hmm.
Like how were seaplanes that prevalent back in the day? I don't know.
I have no idea.
And everybody's, all dressed up, suit and tie, nice dresses and stuff, because that's how you flew back in the day. You didn't fly in your pajamas. Oh, I kind of want to, I don't know. Anyway, so there was something else I wanted to mention about the Ark stuff, or when they were talking to those guys. I don't know. It always seems really important to them in all the movies, but they just send they just send him alone. They're like, okay, go save the world by yourself.
By yourself, yeah.
Mr. Professor. And he does.
Yeah.
But they're never like, oh, hey, call us and we'll send in the cavalry or whatever. They're just like, hey, go do it.
Yeah. You'd think for something that important that they'd be like, oh, yeah, we'll send some guys with you or have an escape plan for you. Something.
Yeah.
But nope.
And that's what they do in all the movies now. Every time the government wants to recruit somebody, they always send in special forces guys with them.
Right.
They don't just let the guy go alone. Yeah, so he goes to Egypt and he meets his friend Salah.
No. He goes somewhere else and meets Marion.
Yeah, he goes and finds Marion because he's trying to find the medallion.
Yeah.
But that's not that important.
I mean, I feel like it is. She's basically... I mean, she's a big part of the movie.
Yeah, she is a big part of the movie. She is, but she's also, I don't know. She causes a lot of problems. A lot of the problems in the movie are caused by her, but not maliciously. She's just, that's her role, is to be the
damsel in distress.
Damsel in distress, who's not really a I mean, she's not really a damsel because she could take care. She was taking care of herself.
Was she? Was she?
I mean, she drank like a fifth of whatever they were drinking and was completely sober. I wouldn't want to mess with somebody that could drink that much liquor and not be drunk.
Yeah, but she could not fight to save her life.
What do you mean? Who did she fight?
So, anyway, so they meet Salah and whatever, and they're going through Egypt, and all those people start attacking them, like trying to kidnap her. And
what?
There's one. What?
Oh, after he rescues her from the bar.
Yeah.
Okay, and they're running through the market.
So they're running through the market,
And
and
she
Indiana
grabs
Jones is fighting like 5, 6 guys, and she grabs the frying pan, and like you see her in the back, and she's hitting some guy
it
like
wasn't even a
this.
fry. That was before the frying pan. She
Okay.
had like a silver box,
Oh, it was a box,
and
and she
she's
was
like
just,
hitting the guy.
but it was so soft.
I saw that too. I was like, what is happening back there?
Yeah.
I was like, come on, lay into that guy. He's a stunt man. He could
And
take
he
it.
was just
Like,
laying there like, oh no. And she was just,
well, there was two of them. There was two guys over there that she's like hitting with this like aluminum foil pan,
yeah.
and then he's like beating the crap out of these guys, and then they run off, and those two guys stand up. She did knock the one guy out with the frying pan.
Off camera, yeah.
Yeah, because she ran into the room, and then he runs in, and then you hear the
And then you
frying
just heard
pan,
the bonk sound. Yeah.
and then he falls out. But then she dragged him in, which was pretty smart. And she only got caught because of the stupid monkey.
Oh yeah, that was the entire point of the monkey. Although right after that, the
Didn't
guy on the motorcycle
understand
and
the
the eye
monkey.
patch guy just disappeared.
Mm-mm.
Like he didn't show back up in the rest of the movie.
The guy
Like,
who actually had the monkey?
yeah,
Yeah, he did.
when?
When he poisoned the dates.
Was he the one who poisoned the dates?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only thing that made sense to me.
They didn't show him poison the dates, but
They showed the
because
guy walk in there. I'm pretty sure it was him.
I don't.
There was something similar about him where it was just instant. I was like, oh, that's that guy.
Okay.
So he told his monkey to stay, and then he accidentally killed his own monkey.
Yeah, but like after that, he disappears. Like you don't see him the rest of the movie.
Well, yeah, because the Nazis leave. They leave Cairo.
Okay. It just seemed like they were setting him up to be someone, and they just
No, I
dropped
don't think
him.
so. I don't think. I mean, same thing with the monkey. The monkey. Only thing the monkey did. He's in a whole bunch of scenes, but the only thing he did was point out the lady,
Mm-hmm.
point out Marion and the basket, and then die from eating a date,
Yep.
so that Indiana didn't die.
Yep.
Like that's the only thing he did. Other than that, he's in a whole bunch of scenes for no reason. The I like how he just shoots that guy in the market.
Yeah.
It's one of
The
my
guy with
favorite scenes.
the giant
Yeah.
guy with the sword. He's
Yeah,
just like, "Ugh, I'm not dealing with this.
yeah. I wonder if Spielberg did that because of Solo shooting first in the market in the bar.
In the cantina. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, possibly.
right. But now he doesn't shoot first, but he does shoot first.
He does shoot first.
He shoots first.
Yeah.
Spielberg,
George
not
Lucas,
Spielberg.
Lucas going back and changing that. That is a horrible, horrible thing that he did.
Yeah, he shouldn't have done that. But anyway, we're not talking about Star Wars today. We're talking about Indiana Jones.
You brought it up.
Better trilogy, Star Wars or Indiana Jones?
Yeah, Star Wars.
Really?
Yes.
We're talking original 3?
Original 3. What other ones are there?
I'm just asking because technically there are 3 trilogies. There's the good one, the okay one, and the one that shall never be spoken of. Anyway, we're not talking about Star Wars. Oh gosh, what were we talking about?
So we talked about Marion and her horrible fighting.
Yeah. Oh, we were talking about, yeah. So he thinks she dies. And then he's like, I don't know. I don't know. The whole sequence is weird. He thinks she's dead. He goes in there to talk to Renee, and
Well,
then
he goes to get drunk, and then somebody who wanted him to speak to his rival went
yeah,
and got him.
yeah, and then I liked how Salah sent his kids in to save him. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll just send all of my kids
all of the kids in.
into this bar where there's a bunch of Nazis and guys with guns to rescue Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Um, and then he's like, better than your U.S. Marines, huh? It's like, maybe, probably. Nobody died, so I guess so. Um, mm, um, like, oh, what's his name? John something Davies,
Yeah, John
Sala.
Reese
Was it
Davies.
Reese?
I think that's Reese.
Yeah, like I don't know, everything he's in. He's a phenomenal actor.
Is he? I don't know if I've seen
Yeah.
anything else with him in it.
Are you retarded?
Quite possibly.
Yeah, you quite possibly are. I know you've seen movies with him in it.
Oh, he was in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, he was Gimli. Is that right?
Was
Oh,
that Gimli? Whoa.
yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean,
Oh my
he's obviously great in
gosh.
that. Wow, I didn't realize that.
He's been in a bunch of stuff, dude. Like he does a lot of voice work because he's got a cool voice,
Yeah.
and he's getting older now. So, um, oh, um, what else? What's the show he was in that um, Sliders. Did you ever watch Sliders?
It sounds familiar.
Where they like go to different dimensions or alternate universes.
Where it was just. No, I have not watched this.
No? Okay.
So yeah, it's an old TV show from 95 to 2000.
Yeah.
No, I
Right.
haven't watched that one.
Okay. Love that show as a kid with him in it. And he's just done a whole bunch of stuff. A lot of voice work, but I think he was in a bunch of Justice League stuff, the cartoon stuff.
Okay.
Anyway, I've always like every time he's on screen, I'm like, "Ooh, cool." And he's going to be back for the fifth one, which is kind of nice. Wrapping it all up, I guess, because now they're all super old.
They are all super old. Yep.
Okay. Anyway, so they go to whatever dig site where they're at, and it's another thing that didn't quite make sense for the movie. So they get the staff and they put the staff in the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to show you on the floor of the map of the city where the Well of the Souls is.
Uh-huh.
Did you notice where the Well of the Souls was on the map on the floor?
I guess I didn't know.
It was the center of the largest structure on the map.
Oh, all right. I mean,
where
kind of
you
makes
would
sense.
where you would be like, oh, that looks like it should be the Well of the Souls.
All right. Yeah.
But also, it's not like it's, a 400 square mile city. It's just a little. You've got hundreds of guys there digging. It shouldn't take you that long to find it.
I mean, if the entire city is covered in sand,
But
and you don't
city,
know how big the city actually is.
right? Well, they can measure the map, and when they escape after they find the Ark,
Mm-hmm.
he busts through that wall.
Yeah.
And then they just walk out. And part of that building that they're in is exposed.
Yeah. Yep.
They weren't like, oh, let's just go through this door right here and see what's on the other side of that real quick.
I mean, that would have made sense, but would have ruined the movie.
Possibly. Anyway, um, so the snakes come up when they go down and find where the ark is at. I I don't like snakes either, so I really enjoy the part where he sprays gas all over the snakes and then sets them on
And
fire.
sets them on fire. Yeah. That was good.
I never thought about it before, but I was watching it. I was like, oh, he's spraying that on the snakes. And then he lights them on fire, and then you hear them scream. And you're like,
Yeah.
is there a disclaimer at the end of this movie where no actual snakes were harmed in this making of this film?
I don't know.
I
didn't
bet there's
see it.
not.
I mean, this was 81, so I don't know
Yeah,
when PETA became a
right. A problem.
giant presence in movies.
And I thought so. I have the original VHS tapes from way back in the day, and on the original VHS, when Indiana goes into the tomb with the snakes, the cobra pops up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the VHS, you can clearly see the reflection of the cobra
Okay.
on a piece of glass that's in between the snake and Harrison Ford, right? You can
Okay.
clearly see it. On the modern versions, on all the digital stuff in the DVDs, they've kind of cleaned that up where you can't see it. But later on in the movie, when Marion gets thrown in, the cobra does the same thing.
Uh-huh.
And you could still see a hint of the reflection of the cobra in the glass. So they still haven't, like, I don't know. When I was a kid and I would watch it on VHS, I would always be like, haha, there's the cobra. This is the reflection of the cobra. I don't know, because it's, it's just a small editing thing that they probably just couldn't
Couldn't get rid of. Right.
because of the technology at the time. And they obviously weren't going to put Harrison Ford in this same room,
Same room
with
as
a
the
real
cobra. Right.
So, but that would be pretty scary though. Like, even with a piece of glass there, having a cobra like get pissed
5,
off
6
at you.
inches from your face. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty intense. Yeah. So they find the ark. You see it. They put it in a crate, and then 5 minutes later, he gets it taken from him. Then after they close the tomb, they escape from the tomb, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the plane fight scene.
That's got to be the best fight scene in the entire movie.
It is a great fight scene.
Especially the ending of it.
Yeah. He like huddles down and the guy's like, what? But he's got that
turn
like
around.
old school boxing stance, and then he turns around and then he doesn't,
and
he's
then
just like,
and then it just
gone.
cuts away and blood splatter.
Blood splatter. Yeah. That's good stuff. So you've got that long sequence, but she takes out the one guy with the pilot. She takes out the pilot. Mary takes out the pilot.
Uh-huh.
And then she shoots a whole bunch of guys who show up.
Yeah, like she was just wrecking the shop.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So she wasn't like a complete damsel, right, in distress. But
yeah, like this movie had no problem showing Nazis die. Like they're just like, oh, she killed like 50 guys right there.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
not
another
50,
thing.
but
yeah, that's another thing I was thinking of too. Like the swastika and Nazis and all of that stuff is super prevalent in the movie.
Yeah.
In both movies, right?
Yeah.
Or in 1 and 3.
1 and 3. Yep.
But now we can't make movies about Nazis with barely they might barely show a swastika or talk about it in an aloof kind of way. But this was so less than 40 years since the ending of World War II, 36 years. And they're like, yeah, we hate Nazis. Nazis are stupid.
Right.
These are Nazis. Guess what? We're going to shoot them.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's good stuff. They weren't, I don't know. Were there people protesting the movie because there were swastikas in this movie?
I sincerely doubt it.
Right.
Because it's entertainment and Nazis bad.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So you have that whole sequence where he's the plane sequence, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's like no talking. There's hardly any talking in
Yeah.
that. And then Sala shows up, and he's after they blow all that stuff up, Sala shows up. He takes Marion, and then Indiana's gonna go get the ark from the truck. You have like a 20 to 30 minute long sequence where there's no talking.
Yeah, just no talking, just a little bit of action.
Well, kind of a lot of action.
Yeah, it starts off kind of light on
scene.
the action, and then it ramps up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a chase scene, and then obviously there's a giant cliff for some reason. It's always a
For some
giant cliff.
reason. Yeah.
Always a giant cliff in the movie. But something that I noticed was watching it is that the movie is primarily driven by the visuals on the screen, but also the score.
Yeah, the music was real prevalent the entire time.
Yeah, and it's
And that iconic Indiana Jones theme song when something's about to happen with them.
right. But it's not just music, right? There's not just songs. It's an actual like composed score to go
Right.
with the action, and it fits really well. They did a really good job of using that to amplify the visuals because there's hardly any dialogue for 20 plus minutes.
Yeah.
And that's really hard to do well. Because, I mean, now, like the Marvel movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have a fight scene. They'll fight for a few minutes, stop and have a little conversation. Fight for a few minutes, stop and have a little conversation. Or there's always snarky banter or jokes and stuff like that. It's never just full on fight for 20 or 30 minutes.
Yep. You are correct.
Which is, I don't know. Maybe they're just not talented enough to do that anymore.
I agree with you.
I wonder if Steven Spielberg still does that. We'll see what happens. Is he directing 5?
I have no idea if he is or if he's just a producer now. Because, I mean, that's all he's been doing recently is just producing.
Executive producer.
So.
No, not the director. He is super old, so.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks. That the grades are getting old, but oh well. Anyway.
Yeah, jumping back just a little bit. One thing that I really liked when they found the ark and they were loading it into the crate, they never touched it. Like they took the rods to move it and then put it in the box to have it lifted out. So they never actually touched it. And nobody touches it until the very end. So
yeah, really nobody touches it until they open it.
Well, they set it down to be opened, and 2 guys like set it up there, and that kind of irritated me. But
I guess I missed that a little bit. I thought they were still had the rods. Okay.
But I mean, it was really nice the entire movie that they made sure that nobody was touching it the entire time.
Right. Because it went out of the box. Sala and Indy put it in a crate, and then they hauled it out, and then you don't see it again until the ritual at the end.
Yeah.
And it's only on screen for a few minutes.
Yep.
The whole movie. Um, mm, mm, mm. Dang it, I don't know. Any other thoughts before we get to the end of the movie?
Not really. I mean, you just have the standard bad guys. Well, Indiana Jones gets the crate. Bad guys get it back, and Marion back. So now Indiana Jones has to go save both of them again.
Again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, also the humor, when there was humor in the movie, was completely well done. So when he's in the Nazi base, knocks that one guy out, and he goes to put on the clothes, and he's like, "Oh, it's too small." Like,
Oh,
just
yeah,
that physical comedy was perfectly done.
yeah. And then the guy starts yelling at him to like clean himself up, and he's like, "Oh," and he's like combing his hair, and he's like
Yeah,
straightening himself up, and then he knocks the guy out.
yeah,
Yeah. And there's like no talking. It's just acting and physical. It's all physical comedy.
yeah.
Yeah,
It was just perfectly done.
yeah. Mm, I mean, I'm really glad they didn't submerge the submarine on the ride over.
Yeah, like I was wondering how is he gonna get in? Because like I said, it's been a while since I've seen it. And it's like,
Yeah,
how did he? Because you see him get on the top of it, and I'm like, okay, what? How does he get inside and not get caught? But
yeah.
no, they just sail straight into the place without submerging it
To just
again.
which it seemed like a long. I mean, it wasn't like forever,
Yeah.
but it seemed like a good journey, even by submarine.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just sitting on top of the boat,
Why not? I
hope,
guess.
hoping nobody comes out. Yeah, because how's he gonna get in?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's still funny, still good. Um, and he loses his hat. He doesn't have his
Yeah.
iconic hat after. Well, once he gets on the sub.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but at that point, the movie is basically over. So there's not much. There's not much happens. Um, after after they take the arc back,
Mm-hmm.
they just go to the island, perform whatever ritual,
Yeah, I mean, Indiana
and
Jones
then
gets a rocket launcher and then tells him he's gonna blow everybody up if he doesn't get Marion back, and they're like, "Hey, why don't you just come with us? We'll tie you up. You can see what's going on."
yeah, he's like, fine, blow it up.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I know you want to see what's in it just as much as I do.
Right.
And that was his main. That's why he took the mission, because he wanted
Yeah.
to find the ark. And now he's like, Marion ark, Marion ark, Marion ark. And then they take him in time, but they don't. They capture him, right?
Uh huh.
And they've already tried to kill this man a dozen times.
Yeah.
And they've got him right there, and they could just kill him,
Yep.
but they don't.
But they don't.
Because that guy, even though like when he's talking to Indiana earlier in the movie, he's like, we're the same person. It's not gonna. It won't take much for
To
you to
push
be
you
like
over the
me.
edge. Right.
Yeah, but that's so. I don't know. I think Renee being and Indiana being so much alike, he didn't really want to kill him
Mm-hmm.
because he's a worthy adversary, right?
Yeah. And I mean, you mentioned that earlier in the movie. Like, hey, if you die, I'm gonna have to find somebody else who's just as good as I am, and that's gonna take
Yeah.
way too long.
Right. Um. Yeah. So they open the ark. The only thing that's in it is sand,
Mm-hmm.
and
Because I mean, it's thousands of years old, so I don't think it would all just be sand because there's no erosion or anything inside the ark. But
yeah, it's a sealed container with rocks in it. Why
Yeah.
would the rocks just don't turn into sand for no reason?
Right. Exactly. It takes erosion and
Pressure,
yep.
heat, you know, um, friction.
Yep.
I don't think there's much friction in there, but
Right.
whatever.
But they think that, hey, maybe it's just a fake, even though we'd seen indications that it was the real thing. The Nazis and the other guy are like, oh, it's just full of sand. It must be fake.
Did you think they like? I don't know. I didn't get that impression that they thought it was fake. I just thought that they were disappointed.
I think the Nazi guy thought it was fake because like he gave
He picks up the sand and then throws it.
yeah, and then
I
he
don't know.
looks at the other guy like, wow, you completely failed here. That's the tall Nazi guy,
Yeah,
not the creepy Nazi guy.
but why did they want the tablets when they thought the art has the power?
I don't know. They didn't
That
explain
didn't.
that, and
Yeah,
it
they
didn't
didn't
make a whole lot
explain
of
that.
sense.
They were like, "We need the tablets," and they said the tablets were broken,
Yeah,
but they
but
weren't.
they put both in there in the arc. They put the broken
Right.
and the whole.
Yeah. So there would have been two sets of tablets in there.
Right. And
So
Aaron's staff and a jar of mana.
right. So there should have been stuff in there,
Right.
but neither here nor there. Um. Yeah. So they open it, look at it, and then the cloud and lightning.
Uh-huh.
No, all the
And
electronics.
weird. Yeah, all the electronics go
But it
out.
wasn't just the electronics. It was also all of their guns.
Okay.
Because all of their guns started having a little explosions on them.
Uh-huh.
Guessing it was disabling them. So I don't know. God, God hates Nazis too.
I mean, yeah, I don't see why not.
Oh, so yeah, so the lightning or whatever comes out, and
And all
he tells
the
Marion to close her
weird
eyes.
ghost faces and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, the weird ghost guys, um, and then it ends with all the fire.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got the lightning, the ghost, the cloud, and the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the end, or yeah, when they're all dying, some of them melt. The
Uh-huh.
one guy
Some of them burn up.
explodes.
One
Some
guy
burn
explodes.
up.
Yeah.
Um,
And then everything gets sucked back into the arc.
well, then like the fire comes out and like evaporates, consumes everything except for Indiana and Marion.
Uh-huh.
And
Just
then
because they
yeah,
didn't look, which okay.
right. I mean,
I guess you don't want to kill off your main character.
well, the only reason I can think of is that because you're not supposed to look upon God,
Okay.
right? So I'm thinking that's probably what it is. But that is like that's definitely extra biblical.
Yeah,
It's not how it
exactly.
works. Um, so yeah, then it like throws the lid like way up in the air,
Uh-huh.
and then it
And
lands
then
perfectly.
everything goes back in reverse and the fire goes back into
Yeah, it
the arc and then it
sucks everything
falls
back in.
right in place.
Yeah, and then it cuts to Indiana talking to the CIA guys again,
Mm-hmm.
or the military intelligence. They weren't CIA.
Whatever. Same thing.
Military intelligence.
Same
Not
thing.
not the same thing. Not the same thing.
How is it not? It's all government.
Yeah, well, the military has some kind of intelligence. The CIA has none.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah, so they basically give them the runaround about what's going on with the Ark, which is typical government bureaucracy bullcrap.
Yeah.
We have top men,
Working on it. Yeah.
top men working on it.
And then they
He's
just
just
shoved
like,
it in a warehouse.
yeah, put it in a crate, lock it up, put it in a warehouse, never to be seen again until Indiana
Until the
Jones 4.
fourth movie. Yeah.
But that was just a callback. That
Yeah,
wasn't.
exactly.
Yeah. Um, and then Em and Marion just ride off into the sunset.
Yeah, go off to have coffee or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, no, she's offered to buy him a drink because
Okay, a drink, not coffee. You're right.
yeah. But it's just like she's just like whatever. We're alive. We're together. What does it matter?
Yeah.
It's like kind
I
of
mean,
matters.
they got paid, and the
I
museum got money,
guess.
so
Yeah. Um. Okay. So I heard a stupid theory about
well, that's a dumb theory.
the movie. Right.
Okay.
The theory is that the movie would have been exactly the same if Indiana Jones wasn't in it
Uh-huh. I've heard that.
because they still would have died at the end. All the
Right.
Nazis would have died at the end because God would have
Hmm.
killed them. And I was like, yeah, but the movie's not about the Ark.
Right. It's about Indiana
And
Jones and his adventure
yeah,
and his relationships. Yeah.
right. And Marion might have been killed had he not gone on the mission
Yeah.
because the Nazis were looking for, they knew she had the uh, thingamajig.
Yeah. The
Amulet? No.
not amulet.
What the frick is the word?
Medallion.
Medallion. There we go. They knew she had that. So they may have killed her anyway.
Yeah.
Yes. So the movie, I was like, that's, I mean, yeah, they still would have all died at the end when they opened the Ark,
Well,
but
if they found the Ark, but if they never found it,
right, they wouldn't have found it as soon as they did because
right.
Indiana found it. They would have found it eventually because, like I said, it's
Quite
not.
possibly. Right.
They had hundreds of guys out there digging. They would have found it sooner or later. And if they would have taken it to Berlin and opened it, I don't think that would have been a bad thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, I get the theory, but that's not the point of the movie. The it's the adventures of Indiana Jones.
Right.
And because of the first movie, we get the fourth movie, which they botched. Well, I don't know. They almost casting was probably the problem. But that is neither here nor there.
Yeah. And we can save that for another discussion should we come upon that movie.
So, with that, I guess let us know in the comments if you want us to review the. Oh, dang it. What's the second one called?
Temple of Doom.
The Temple of Doom. The Holy Grail. No, The Last Crusade.
Last Crusade, right.
And
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Oh, it's and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So, any closing thoughts?
No, nothing
Definitely
new.
gonna. What?
No, I don't have anything else to add to my initial impressions. Still a great movie. Some of the special effects don't really hold up, but it was made 40 years ago.
What were you saying about that with the cut scenes or the editing?
Like special effects is what I was talking about.
Oh.
So, like at the end where all those ghosts are flying around, not really up to snuff on today's special effects.
Well, yeah.
But you got to look at the time it came out. And, yeah, I mean, it was great for the time.
Right. Um, it actually, so it's a 4-time Oscar winner. It won for Best Art Direction, Best Sound, Best Film Editing, and Best Effects, Visual Effects.
Yeah.
So at the time,
It
the
was
effects
cutting
and the
edge at the
visual
time.
effects
Right.
were enough to win an Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. Um, so yeah, I mean, like the melting when the guy melted,
Mm-hmm.
obviously that looked like a wax figure.
Yeah.
But
Or
I don't
when the
know.
ghost showed up, like you could tell they were superimposed.
Right. Um, but yeah, still for 81,
Yeah.
you know. And I don't know, I get tired of all the CGI. So sometimes when I see those effects, I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
That actually really happened versus the CGI where it's just some nerd
Who
painting
animated
pixels.
it. Right.
Yeah. So yeah, so I like the um
Practical
not
effects.
practical effects, that's what you call it. Yeah, practical effects. I've always liked practical effects way more than visual, or way more than um CGI. Um so we are definitely going to be reviewing the fifth movie,
Mm-hmm.
the Time
Dial of
movie,
Destiny.
Dial of Destiny. See how that goes. I saw that. Did you see the preview?
Yeah.
Um, it looks good. I'm just not sure. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I
I'm
have
still a
reservations
little
because it looks like they're going to be time jumping, like playing with time.
playing with time. I wasn't
Uh-huh.
sure if they were gonna like actually go through time or if it was flashbacks.
I mean, if
I
it's
couldn't tell.
flashbacks, then it could be fine, but I don't feel like that's what they're doing with a movie called The Dial of Destiny. So I'm kind of concerned because I don't want them to
So,
go back into storylines and screw stuff up.
oh, I definitely don't think they're gonna do that because, well, in every other movie, in all four of them, Indiana doesn't really care that much about the magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's just trying to
Find the artifacts. Yeah.
not die and find the artifact and, discover something. But it's usually for himself, and he doesn't really care about, oh, God just killed all these Nazis, or there's this weird um, temple that's doing child sacrifice,
Yeah.
or um, I just met a guy who's 800 years old, and I found the cup that Christ drank from. Like, he doesn't really care about it,
Mm-hmm.
um, all that stuff that much. And even in the other one, he's like, "Oh, we met some interdimensional aliens. How are we getting out of here?"
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they don't actually go through time, but we'll find out. I think it's June 30th, right?
Yeah.
So we'll be doing that review end of June, early
Shortly after.
July.
Yep.
Um, so
But yeah, so
Mondays we do movie
yeah.
reviews. Thursdays we do a series review. What are we doing right now?
Yeah,
Citadel.
so if you guys made it this far into the video, make sure to hit that like button if you liked it, subscribe, and leave some additional comments down below. We appreciate it.
Yep. And with that, we will see you guys next time.